Alright, here's where I am so far. I went in, I'm dealing with, given the time of the year. Like I say, that you're dealing with around first part of March, River Ranch. A lot of dry, tall grasses, native grasses. What I did, I actually come in here and I mixed almost a flesh tone in the washes to lighten the background up from the darkness I put in the washes earlier. And it's actually, like I said, I'm using a burnt sienna. The majority of it is loaded with titanium white, gives it a really light straw. So what I'm going to do is that brings out the darkness, which I've mixed. I'm going on top with a wash of strictly burnt sienna on top of this lighter wash. And what it's going to do, as you can see, this is going to bring out the shadowing, because I'll go back on top of this and then I'll put my light layer back on, and that'll give me my shadows and my straw grasses in there, the dry grasses. Like I say, every single painting, when you do one more painting, is one more experiment for me. I try something new every time, and what I'm trying to do is not focus. I'm not trying to focus on each individual item like I would if I was doing the turkeys, or I would if I was doing an individual leaf. I'm looking at everything as a whole. The image would all be in more as a bulk cluster of each individual item. So it seems like it's working out better, kind of staying with a watercolor style for all of this. Now, the trees I've got down pat. I don't know how good this will show up in the video, but the colors are perfect. I went with the sap green straight. Stayed away from any shadows. I let the sap green be the shadow because we are dealing with a midday event. I just added white, titanium white, and lightened, and only highlighted to the left because the sun does come in this direction. It's all flowing this way. So you're going to have your brightness only to one side of the trees. You'll have a few here and there on the others because you've got multi-layer, a little cluster. Because River Ranch has been basically it's been stripped of a lot of the trees. Mostly it's like a farmland. It's been logged out, and you have clusters of trees, a lot of open gaps and myrtles and palmettos. That's what this is about. In this particular area, there was really very few palmettos. There might be one here or there that I would see, so I kind of eliminated that because that would kind of throw it out of kilter because your eyes are going to focus on those hard edges if I put one of those in or some. Tree is half dead. I did it with the same as I did the pine trees. I went with the raw umber, the dark brown, and just did whites to it. And of course the burnt siennas took care of the rotting of the tree. And I'm popping the oat leaves with my sap green because it tends to throw it a more natural color into it, and then I'll just do washes in there from there to detail each individual leaves how I want them. Small slash pines, once again, they were done sap green. Then I went with the light green on top of that, mixed with the white, or the light green and then permanent, and then mixed the white with the light permanent green. And I did it in layers to where it shines from this side. I still got to go in when I darken all of this in between all of these grasses and do the greens and everything to put some shadow in the background and highlights of the light grasses in between. That I pop this grasses forward with the lighter, fleshier color, which the grass is the natural straw colors, and then all the edges in behind it will actually take care of the correct color for the shadowing. Like I say, I crisp it all off as I go. I should have this in, and then I'll come back After I get all this areas done, I'll go ahead and do the logs, crisp in the sign here. Maybe go ahead and put in the barbed wire. I got to do the foreground, the shadowing, because if you look at the roads when you pass through, I'm not done with the road yet. This is more shadowing than anything. What I'll do is I'll have a few green grasses in here and there in the straws, because you have a blend of that time of year it is. And when you go down when you notice when you drive down the sandy roads, mud tends to accumulate in the lower areas with the rains hitting it in the tracks and low areas. And then you're going to have a lot of white sand with these shadows in between the grains on the edges, real bright, because it tends to fluff the sand up to the edges of the road, because the vehicles tend to throw it and they tend to grade it and it throws it. So, and then like I say, the sediment gets down because it's smaller, particulates smaller, so it gets between the sands and grains. So we'll keep putting this in, and I'll have some more here in a short. I'm putting in my straight sap green wash, and you can see where I've put in the highlights back of the lighter burnt siennas, mostly whitish into it, because this is going to pop out. Putting in my, like I say, a straight sap green watered down dilution, doing a wash, kind of covering in, using the lighters here, the lighter from the grasses to kind of make it stand out, and it's starting to shape in. I'll go back in after that, and I'll put my shadows in behind it. So it'll look pretty good once I do all that. I just got to be careful, because I'm trying to highlight this grass and kind of crisp it up to make it look like individual clumps. So I got to kind of watch what I'm doing here on that to make sure that it looks that way. And like I say, I'll come back in and shade it. But I think I've caught it. Like I say, once I get the shadowing in wherever it's needed and just keep doing washes, eventually it'll pop on out, but it's getting there. I just mixed some burnt sienna plus white, titanium white, lightened it up a little bit, and I've applied it to the old painted tin. It's rusted up. Now I'm putting a very thin wash of Mars Black to make my shadows underneath here, because the sun's slightly coming this way, but it's still shadowy on this side. So this is going to be shadowed across here in this way, and I'm going to put it on the seams, and I got to finish shadowing this down. And I've just shadowed across here. I still got some more to do because of the angle. And that's what I'm working on now. Okay, I'm putting in my poles, my fence poles. I've put a base coat of Mars Black. Then I came back and dry brushed in, very dry. I actually put in a really light gray, mixing it with a titanium white with the Mars Black. So now I'm going to wash this in, and I'm actually going to take a burnt sienna, and I'm actually going to try to get the effect of the wood in here. And you can see how it's taking place. All this has to be taken care of underneath. Underneath the barbed wire, I have to have this out of the way, and the feet. This is that I have to go on top of it. And you can see we're getting a pole now. So doesn't take much. It has to be pretty thin. And then I'll come back in and fill my shadows back in, and whatever touches of white from the fading of the pole over time will go in, and that'll make it stand out. There we go. We gotta make sure we get up underneath this too. So there we go. There we go. Alright. There's my first pole done. I mean, as far as that far, I'll let that tack up. Now I'm going to move on to pole number 2. Which would be this one. Right here. Just looking for that effect. It'll pop. It'll pop when I start detailing over this. And that shadow will work out good here and here under that barbed wire. So I'm satisfied with that. Right here. Alright. And that'll give us a pole to work with for now. And then I'll go back with my grays and my shadows after this. Or my shadowing in the back and then the grays and the black. I'll fill in them slots a little more there. But I'm pretty happy with it. I'm putting in my white weathering of my poles now, and I'm keeping in mind that the light is coming from left to right, slightly down at a 45, so you got to keep that in mind. And you can tell where this is going. I'm only hitting the high spots. Usually that's where the wear and tear takes place. I'm going to stay just below the barbed wire. That'll give me a natural shadowing. Okay, you can see where this is going. I want to highlight this hole here. And a matter of fact, it really looks good enough to me that I really don't see any need in going in behind it and shadow it, because I'm not going to carry it over that far. So I think this is going to work. Okay, there it is. I think that will work. And now I'm going to go over to the other one. Just want to make sure that when I put the barbed wire on it, it It's all the way in. Alright. So there's another little dab of really light gray. This is literally almost dry paint I'm working with. Alright, let's put the top. Remember, we're working left to right on the light. Just try not to make more work, so we'll just leave that side be. Like I said, we can highlight it, go in and darken it if we need to. And I probably will with some light black washes of Mars Black. And I'll add a little brown in that Mars Black because I don't want to go a solid black either. Okay, we got another pole right here. Okay, a little bit of weathering on the door. I still got to trim some of that up too. I'm only highlighting it too where it shines out, kind of get another effect there. I have a little touch up I'll do to that. Alright, I also did the screen the same way. Mars Black. Come in, put me some super light gray on it. Same way with this old piece of wood. That's the old overhang rotting out wood. I'll go in and might detail the holes and stuff in it with a fine brush and all this here in a little bit. But you can see the effect of the pole as it's drying. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's starting to come together. Still got a lot of work to do, but it's coming together.